14-man Munster survive a late Connacht comeback. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. We had a record attendance of 27,000 for this one, and it just shows how well Connacht have been doing over recent years, just growing the club over there as well. They've always been kind of the poor man of Irish rugby, but decent plans, decent ambitions. They've shown what can be done on a tight budget as well to actually build that up. And we've seen it with other provinces in Ireland as well before, building from a small base into a big team like Leinster. Leinster did it. Again, I said it before. I used to go to down to Donnybrook when we played our league games there, and the place wasn't even full. And I don't know how many people that held, but it couldn't have been more than a couple of thousand there, So, and they've built that up over time. Connacht kind of on the similar journey now as well, and it's just great to see from them. But onto the game. So Munster attacking early on from a line out on the edge of 22, work within 5 meters, but then Finlay Bealham gets in there, turns the ball over. Good defence from Connacht there, and they manage to clear it. Then Hugh Gavin is carrying in midfield, but he gets isolated. Tom Ahern gets over the ball to win a penalty for Munster, and then Crowley slots the kick to open the scoring for 3-0. Then we have a little chip over from Crowley that's collected by Ben O'Connor. He gives the ball to Craig Casey. Munster, they're in the 22. They shift it left to Tom Ahern. He rides the challenge of Mac Hansen to score in the corner. Conversion is missed. We're at 8-0. Munster then not releasing the tackle. Ioane kicks that for the corner. Connacht claimed the line out and set up the maul about 10 metres out. Then the backs come in to lend some weight to as well. They're 5 metres out. They force a penalty. Heffernan taps that penalty. Then Janssen smashes his way over. Conversion into a strong wind is missed, and it's 8-5. And they were talking a lot in the commentary, and I thought myself as well that the wind would have a big factor in terms of it was such a strong wind that you felt like Munster had to build a lead in the first half, and then maybe Connacht could come back in the second half. I'm not sure, the game did kind of go that way, but not sure the wind had as much of an effect in the second half. But yeah, 8-5 at this stage. Munster then strike back straight away. Nash shrugs off the tackle of Cordero. He spins, then darts through a gap. He's in behind, puts Casey over to score. Crowley converts for 15-5. And Cordero had a kind of a very mixed game. First half he was poor. Second half definitely much improved. Then have a Timo check for a clear out by Nankabil on Keane Prendergast. It's shoulder to head. No attempt to wrap. It's direct contact to the head as well. No mitigation. It's a red card. And, pretty much the same as Fouché on Carson last night in the Ulster Stormers game. And again, you can't really argue with that. I'm sure if you're a fan of the team that get the red card, you might feel that it's unfair, but it's the type of thing they're trying to remove from the game. Prendergast off from the stretcher at that stage. And for me, I can't really argue with the award of the red card. Connacht then immediately look to attack and making good progress, but Kendlin gets over the ball to win a penalty for Munster. Munster then, they're coming forward now. Crowley puts an up and under into the 22, which Cordero knocks on. Decent attacking position from them. Lockman, though, is stripped in the carry as they try to attack off that scrum, and Connacht run out through Mac Hansen. Munster then win a penalty in the 22 for Bealham not rolling away. Crowley makes it 18-5 from the tee. Connacht then, they win a penalty and they go for touch, but Craig Casey keeps it in, kicks clear, and then pretty much we run down to half time, 18-5. Connacht on the attack at the start of the half. Bundy Aki puts Finn Tracy through a gap, and he pops inside for Caelan Blade to go over to score, convert for 18-12. Connacht then concede a penalty at the kick-off, and it allows Munster to go up the line. They go through a number of phases with forwards carrying 5 metres out, but Connacht hold them out, and we have 5-metre scrum to Munster as the ball becomes unplayable. Munster, they work it to the line. Casey with a nice cutout pass puts Crowley over to score. He converts his own try for 25 points to 12. Munster with a scrum penalty, and they go up the line into 22. They keep it tight with 1 out runners. We have a TMO check for a possible try. On field, there's no try because there's no clear grounding, but then in the replay we see that there is a grounding on the line from Barron. Bundy Key almost prevented him from getting over. That's the bonus point try for Munster. Conversion is missed. We're at 30 points to 12. Connacht then attack from a line out into 22. They go close on the left. Byrne over the ball. He's told to release and he doesn't, so he goes to the bin, and they tap the penalty in Janssen over for his second try against 13 men. Converted by JJ Hanrahan for 30 points to 19. Then a Crowley kick forces Connacht to carry the ball over their own goal line. Munster turn it over but knock it on the goal line as they were trying to score. Drop out to Connacht. It did look like there was a possible knock on from Connacht as they carried it back over the goal line initially, but it wasn't checked. But there's always going to be little things like that for either team in games anyway. We then have another team out check for a high tackle from Buckley on Casey, and that allows Munster to go up the line again. It was kind of a swinging arm to the head. There was no, it definitely wasn't at card level. Connacht then pinned their own 22 and, or their own half, Munster back up to 14 with Byrne coming back from the bin. There's 10 minutes left now for Connacht to find some kind of momentum for a losing bonus point or potentially a win. Mac Hansen then kicks an absolutely massive 50-22 from his own 22. Connacht need to take advantage. They're forced out of the 22 as they spread it off the line out. Hansen then, though, with a nice wide pass back out to the tram lines on the right. Janssen gives momentum there, and then they come back inside. Hugh Gavin with a nicely delayed pass to put Ioane over to score. Converse is missed. We're at 30 points to 24. Connacht then win a penalty, and again looking to attack off the line out. Tracy offloads out of the tackle close to the line for Tierney Martin to score in the corner. Hanrahan, he's lining up the conversion from the touchline to potentially put them ahead and maybe win the game if there are no more scores after that. But we have a team overview for potential crock roll by Bundy Key on Gavin Coombs. It is a crock roll, no try, penalty to Munster. Munster then work up to halfway, and they're then pinged for a dangerous clear out on Aki. Nigel Scannell goes to the bin, so they're down to 13 again. Connacht have a penalty and a chance to get good field position in the final minute of the game. Hanrahan puts them 10 metres out. Very decent kick from him. Munster, though, steal the line out and are able to run down the final 30 seconds, get it off the field and secure the win. 30 points to 26 was our final score. Okay, so let's talk about the stats and then we'll talk about each of the teams. So let me pull them up here. So starting on attack, tries scored, 4 tries each, so both teams get a try bonus point. Possession 44% for Connacht, 56 for Munster. That was key to Munster, making sure that Connacht weren't going to run the legs off them when they were down to 14 and 13 men. Clean breaks 12 for Connacht, 11 for Munster. Defenders beaten 17 for Connacht, 21 for Munster. So both teams looking good in attack. Offloads then 16 for Connacht, 10 for Munster, and some really nice slick hands, backs and forwards from both teams as well. Onto the fence then, 36% territory for Connacht, 64 for Munster. Again, one of the keys to them, actually winning the game. And again, a reason why I don't think that the wind played as much of a factor, especially in the second half, as we were expecting, because Munster, had the bulk of the territory in the first half, and then the same in the second half as well. They played the wind, I think, a lot better than Connacht. If they were kicking, it was low and it was flat, so that the wind didn't play too much of it. Number of tackles then, 175 to 121. So Connacht, making a lot more tackles, but, Munster, it wasn't just a few that Munster had to make either. Missed tackles then 21-17. Tackle percentage 82% for Connacht, 79 for Munster. So again, neither near kind of the pass mark that you expect at this level, but Munster certainly below that. Turnovers 1 then, 4 for Connacht, 10 for Munster, and some of the the turnovers that were won as well, especially by Munster, were real kind of game savers for them. On to kicking then, kicks retained, 1 for Connacht, 4 for Munster. And I thought, Munster did well in the fact that, when they were kicking, they were high, they weren't too long for the most part. There was one where they kicked to Mac Hansen, I absolutely regretted. But for the most part, they made him contestable, and they got guys up there as well to win it. But Hansen, I thought, was excellent at the back. He was playing a full back for Connacht. Then penalties, 9 penalties conceded by Connacht and 12 for Munster. And there weren't that many. Like, I think there was one point where, was it I think Hansen's second try, where maybe Munster could have been on a warning for too many penalties conceded, but they conceded the try straight away, and generally that just resets it for them. On to players then. So tries, 2 for Sean Jansen and 1 for Craig Casey. Obviously, all of Munster's scorers were 1 try scorers. Successful carries. So Finn Tracy with 10 for Connacht. I believe he's gone to Munster, or is it Munster? I think it's Munster, maybe Munster next year. I think he's certainly leaving Connacht, but yeah, good parting kind of performance. Obviously, the season not over yet, but looking really good out there on the left wing. And Craig Casey, back after being out for a while there with that injury that he sustained. I think it was before the start of the Six Nations, right? And he looked decent as well at 9. Clean breaks then, Finn Tracy with 3 and Jack Crowley with 3, and that pairing as well between Casey and Crowley looking really good. And I'd like to see maybe with Ireland, those two getting decent game time together as well. Defenders beaten then, Josh Ioane with 3 and Jack Crowley with 4. Thought Ioane was kind of up and down, honestly, for Connacht. Some really good stuff, some good lines, some good passes as well, but some poor decision making from him at times too. Crowley, kind of getting back towards his best, I'd say, at this point. Meters made then, Mac Hansen 109. The guy, anytime loose kick went to him, he was running it back, he was finding the space, he was beating his man. Can't ask for more, from your fullback. Ben O'Connor then with 63 for Munster. Decent performance from him, and he's involved certainly in one of the tries there as well. Offloads then, 4 for Mac Hansen and 4 for Tom Farrell. Farrell in that midfield, I think he came on after Nankiville went off. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure that's right. On to defence then, number of tackles, Seamus Hurley-Langton with 28. Whenever a player gets anywhere near 30 tackles in a game, that guy has just put himself about, and he really did that. Gavin Coombs then, 13 for Munster, plenty of carries from him as well. And, both packs, I thought, there was a lot of good performances on both sides. Turnovers 1 then, Hurley-Langton with 1 and Jack Crowley with 2 for Munster. Now and again he does get in there for a jackal, but at times, every 10, right, they get targeted in defence in terms of people say, they don't tackle all that well or whatever, but he got over the ball a couple of times, so fair play to him. Okay, so let's talk about each of the teams. We start with Connacht. So, they gave themselves a chance to nick the win at the end there, but honestly, they lost the game in the first half. Didn't take advantage against 14 men, like it was for 55 minutes of the game. And then there was a couple of times as well against 13. And, you feel like, again, in the first half, they didn't close up to Munster the way you would have expected once Munster went down to 14. Obviously, credit has to go to Munster for the way they managed that. But yeah, Connacht maybe not as smart against 14. But we've seen Munster do the same thing as well this season too, playing against 14 and not really stretching the opposition. But then in the second half, they did a bit, but still not enough to win it. And it feels like now it's going to be a very tough task for them to make the top 8, because they're going on the South African tour now. And, so that's 2 games, and they've got to you feel like they've got to win one of those games, right? And then they're just to give themselves a chance. Then they got 2 rounds then, as a bit of a shootout really to try and make the top 8. Munster, they built that lead in the first half. They kept it tight when they went down to 14, and they managed the yellow card periods well. They kept the scoreboard ticking over as well, so that, it didn't feel like it was a one-way thing with Connacht coming back at them, once they went down to 14 or 13. So that was very important. I think if they just tried to kind of almost shut up shop and take the odd penalty here and there, they probably would have lost the game. Took their chances, and they denied Connacht at crucial moments. And they should. I feel like now they're going to qualify for the playoffs unless their form absolutely collapses from here. Okay, so that's the end of this one. So let me know what you think down in the comments.